Welcome back. This is Steve Jackson's Sorcery Blind Playthrough Part 5. So I believe the last thing I did was I talked to somebody on the street and they gave me some information for my clues. There we go. I accidentally added the God of War tags to the thing, but fixed it. Okay. Nope. So I decided to avoid going down the well. I hope I have another chance to go back down there. We'll see. Let's go towards the wall. You follow a busy, winding street between tall buildings. Heading in this direction, you spy some graffiti painted on the side wall of one of the houses. What does it say? You stop to read the sprayed message. It appears to have been painted very quickly, making it hard to read the writing. The cousin is gone. The gourd have no pause. Time to rise. So I can ask somebody about it. They might not know. Let's look more closely at the writing. Maybe I read it wrong. You go closer to see if you can make sense of it. Perhaps it says, "The council is grin, the guard have no poor, time to rise." Look again. You step a little closer. From here you can make out the difference between marks in the painting and bird splatters and the message becomes much clearer. It is a call to revolution. The council is gone. The guard have no power. Time to rise. You turn to move on to find yourself staring into the face of two guardsmen. "So," purrs one, "looks like our little trap worked." "Aye," agrees the other. "Looks like we caught ourselves a traitor." So I can ask what they're talking about, or apparently you have no power. What are you talking about? Instead, interested in our little slogan there, weren't you? The guard points at the graffiti on the wall with a hand, still stained with white paint. "We watched you." You read it twice. "More or less prayed to it," the other agrees. So they're the ones who wrote it down? That's a bit confusing. It's true, isn't it?" You replied doggedly. "From what I hear, the council is gone, and there aren't enough guards to patrol the city." The first guard looks at you triumphantly, but actually it seems he's stuck for what to say. The second, who is clearly not very bright, jumps in too early, declaring, "Exactly!" The first guard stares him into silence. "So where is the council?" you ask. "The council are in season," the first guard answers. "We did patrol there ourselves last night. They're deliberating, the second says, pronouncing yeah, pronouncing the word quite deliberately. Have been a few months now. So I can fight them, go with them, or cast a spell. Let's see what we can cast here. If you put 3 letters together, it doesn't automatically cast it. You can delete them. So we can, like this. Yep. I could cast Big again. I wonder how many times Big's gonna work. Oh, I could do Jig. I just got that, I believe. It doesn't consume it, right? I don't believe so. Okay. Cause lively dancing requires a bamboo flute. Cast. You pull out a pipe and begin playing a merry tune as you cast your spell. At first the guard seems surprised, and then, a moment later, they are astonished, as they find themselves dancing and jigging in the street. You play and play, until the 2 men, both quite large, are tired out, and sit down against the wall, underneath the graffiti, smiling and grinning. You leave them there, pocket your pipe, and walk away up the street. You pass a narrow, unpleasant-looking archway on your left, as the road turns a corner in the view of the wall. You have found 5 clues, and another clue has been updated. Items. Let's look at our clues. Lord Shiva is one of the nobles. Lord Shinva, I think it actually is. Yeah, Shinva is dead. However, there are rumors that his spirit still haunts the crypt in Caer Necropolis. Lord Lorog is one of the nobles of Caer. Lord Lorog is a scholar. 1 silver weapon can harm the undead. Only silver, not 1. A man named Vic runs several businesses in the seaport, not crypt. Okay. Some of those I read last time, but now they will be read. Follow the road. The road climbs further, looping back on itself as it climbs. Several little alleys disappear off between homes and buildings on either side. This area of town is a spiderweb that would be easy to lose oneself in. You pass a shop with a brass sign above the door. Metal Workers Guild. Ooh, let's go into the metal workers. You open the door and enter the small building to find a messy workshop littered with pipes, tubes, and barrels that leak hot gas into the air. A gnome and a troll are leaning over the innards of some kind of machine, tinkering and turning spanners. They don't notice you come in. I can either greet them or steal something. Let's greet them. You call out to the pair and wave, but they are so engrossed in their work that they don't notice you. But something does. From the corner of the room you hear a squeal and see a movement. Let's look around. You look around, and your attention is caught by a brass statuette of a pig, standing on its hind legs. It seems quite ordinary, except that, as you watch, it hiccups. Let's watch it. You watch the statue for a few moments, during which it hiccups twice. Its movements are weirdly realistic, but it is definitely not alive. When it bends, two cogwheels either side of its body wire and click together, and the whole process itself is articulated by some kind of piston in its back. Let's ask the troll and the gnome about it. You approach the two male workers, and this time you tap them on the shoulder. The troll turns, staring at you blankly, chomping his upper lip with his oversized teeth. The gnome is more friendly, lifting up his eyes, shielding and smiling. "Ignore my dumb friend," he beams. "Welcome to our little shop." I can ask about the shop, ask about the statue, or ask about the North Gate. Do you know any spells for the North Gate? Let's ask about the statue first. Tell me how that statue works. What? Our little piggy? The gnome smiles. That's one of our Raglesh's creations, and unbelievably he pats the dumb-looking troll on the shoulders, and the troll coughs twice. It's an articulated automation. Seeing your confusion, he declares, "It runs on magic gas." What's it for? The gnome shrugs. Nothing really, it just hiccups. We're working on the next model, which if we get it right, and he glowers briefly at Raglesh as he speaks, then it'll be able to pickpocket people, which we are planning to unveil it at the festival, but we're behind. Maybe next year. Next year. The troll burps. They're planning on pickpocketing people with their next machine that they make? Okay, what is this place? This is the Metal Workers Guild, the gnome replies proudly. That's metal work, but not blacksmithery. But no one seems to have much interest in metalworking. It's the future, of course. The gnome chirps to himself. Do you know any spells for the North Gate? The gnome barks a surprising laugh, almost knocking himself over. No, he exclaims. That's wizarding, which is about as far from what we do as eggs are from cooked eggs. The troll shakes his head sadly. I know, the gnome remarks to his friend. No one understands what we do. It's most frustrating. The troll picks up a spanner and drops it again. I need to be going, you say. Raglesh growls at you, quite suddenly. The gnome nods. My friend is right, he says. We should be getting back to work. You nod and leave the shop. The docks. You emerge from the narrow winding alley into an open space on the far side of Jabaji River. Slides past. Its surface strewn with flotsam and jetsam, dredging up from fallen parts of the city. The sails of the boats at anchor billow and snap in the breeze. You have reached the docks, the beating heart of care. Let's look around. There are 2 or 3 ships moored for the night, and the space between them and the road is filling with a huge number of stalls and little shops, selling everything from fishing tackle to selling blocks to barrels of Woodhouse rum. This must be a thriving marketplace during the day. Which night is approaching, it is a maze of booths and cloth. A single bridge crosses the river here, operated with ropes to let the tall ships through. Right now the bridge is up to allow ships to sail through undisturbed. Find somewhere to sleep. There are 2 inns visible from here, the Wayfarer's Rest and the Meat and Cleaver. There is nothing obviously different from either of them. So I could sleep in the alley, or sleep at one of these 2 locations. That sounds like it would have good food. Sit by the river? Or sleep in the market? Okay, let's go to the Meat and Cleaver. The Meat and Cleaver is a small, grimy place that looks like it's been converted from a wood store. Rats run along the floor, and the customers at the tables look haggard and tired, as if just smelling the air is draining them. By the bar, a stooped and hunched innkeeper wipes his beer mugs with a filthy handkerchief. I think I'm gonna leave. This place looks disgusting. You turn your head back out on the street. You walk back to the docks. You still need to find somewhere to stay the night. Let's look at Wayfarer's Rest. You make your way inside the Wayfarer's Rest. It is a lively, bustling place. The innkeeper behind the bar is trying to serve numerous creatures, all demanding ale at the same time, while round the tables salty types and buxom wenches are laughing together and singing chanties. Let's see, maybe I can ask him? You fight your way through the creature to the bar. After a minute or so, you manage to catch the innkeeper's attention. "Greetings," you say. "Nice place you have here." The innkeeper nods at you. He is clearly impressed by your dress and fearsome aspect. "And what be your purpose in these parts?" he asks. Let's ask him about the North Gate. "I'm heading for the North Gate." "Look," the innkeeper replies, cutting you off. "I didn't mean I want to know. I meant you want a drink?" "Here I am. You want to talk? Then that's what my customers are for." He waves around the room at hordes of drunken sailors and other ruffians who fill the space. The other creatures at the bar jostle and push each other for space. Let's buy some food. Are you serving food, you ask? The innkeeper nods. Aye, 'tis the gills for 6 gold pieces. Hearty as you like. It's kinda expensive. A lot more expensive than the beginning. Remember, it was just very, very few pieces of gold to buy. I'll pay. You hand over 6 gold pieces and the innkeeper nods. Get yourself a table and we'll bring it out when it's ready, he says. A ruffian knocks over a dwarf's mug of ale. The fight that breaks out is short, sharp, and ends with a heel of axe breaking the ruffian's nose. A great cheer goes up, and the innkeeper replaces the ale free of charge. Tell me the price of your L. The innkeeper holds up one finger. I hope it's not a rip-off like last time. Buy some? I'll have a mug then, you declare. You lay down a coin and the innkeeper passes you a flagon. Ask the price of a room. How much is a room, you ask? The innkeeper holds up four fingers, rather than shouting across the bar. Okay, let's drink the ale. You knock tankards with the creature on either side of you, then drain the beer in one swoop. It is nigh and pleasant, and fills your stomach with a pleasing warm glow. Finest in care, the innkeeper remarks, seeing your satisfied smile. Ain't nothing that beats a good glass of Wayfarer's right. You should have another, too. The second's way better. It is just one. You buy another flagon of beer. Let's head away. You push your way back out of the crowd at the bar with your beer. An angry dwarf is in one corner, suddenly leaps to his feet, shouting, "Enough talking then! Let's show the council what we think of them now." Let's go to the dwarf stable. You make your way over to the group of dwarves in the corner, who are sitting arguing loudly about something. "Greetings, may I join you?" The dwarves look up at you with cranked necks and deep frowns. "And who are you?" "I'm a traveler," you reply. "I'm new to the city." The dwarf nods. "Then you're welcome." He slaps the bench beside him. "Sit down and I'll tell you why we should burn the council building down tonight." I'm glad he didn't just say, "I'm with the council," because they'll probably start finding me right away. Sit down. You take a seat. "As I was saying," the dwarf continues, "the council are ruining the city, and it's time we took the fight to them. Who's with me?" "I don't know," Sexsmuth, another replies, more sheepishly. "After all, things aren't that bad around here." Sexsmuth turns to you, and what do you say?" So I could say, "Care seems to be a fine city," or "This city is run by villains." I think I'll say this one. I have met many, many villains. I mean, the whole festival didn't seem all that great. "This city is run by villains." "Exactly," he agrees. "The council are thieves. Us honest dwarves have no way to protect ourselves." "Well," the sheepish dwarf says, "what would you do?" A light gleams in the dwarf's eye. "I know where the council is," Sexsmuth says. "My father helped dig it, see?" "Dig?" "You heard me," he replies. "I'll take you. On one condition. When we get there, you must help me split the first noble's skull. It's time Sansas lost his crown," and he laughs. So I can say it must be another way, or it's a deal, or that is a certain death. I'd say it's a deal. He replied coolly. "Maybe you can get the spell lines before the skull is really split open. Then let's go, Sexsmith declares, knocking back his beer and jumping to his feet. Your clues has been updated. Let's see that before I go forward. I think I'm gonna leave my food here. Lord Sass is the first noble of Care, and only he knows the full spell to open the north gate of the seaport. There we go. Follow the dwarf. He marches away down the dock, and you hurry after him. He will lead you to the council, and perhaps to the city nobles themselves. They may even be persuaded to open the way for you, if they learn the importance of your mission. How do you plan to attack? The tower is built on several levels, the dwarf replies, whispering in case the empty street should overhear. I suggest we start at the top and make our way down. How will you reach the top? You ask, puzzled. He frowns at you. That part will be easy part, he replies. I'll walk in like anyone else. So where is this council? You ask. You don't know? The dwarf replies, genuinely surprised. You're new in town, then. Quite new. Excellent, the dwarf replies. An unprovoked attacker by a stranger from out of the city. That can't be tracked back to us. Meeting you has been most fortunate. You climb a small rise. Below you, the lights of the seaports are going dark. But where is the council building? The council tower is the tallest building in Care, but also the best hidden, he replies, cryptically. I know where it is, because I'm a dwarf. At the council. Here, the dwarf declares, stopping outside what appears to be an ordinary house. Wait here, I'll go in first. With that, he disappears through the door. Look over the house. The house into which the dwarf has gone is just that, surely. The windows are thick bottle glass, and the door is tarred wood, suddenly with rivets and painted black. The roof, only a single story up, is overgrown with weeds. Other identical dwellings stand either side. Still nothing. The building in front of you does not seem like any council chamber. It looks more like the home of a baker or seamstress. Perhaps this is a trap? Okay, so I can look through the door, knock on the door, or try the door, or just walk away. Let's look through the windows. You peer in through one of the windows, but the glass is so thick and heavily streaked on the inside with candle grease. You cannot make out anything. I'll knock on the door now. You knock on the door. There is no answer from inside. So I could try the door, or wait. I'll wait. You wait. The dwarf does not appear. Wait longer? Minutes pass. Wait even longer? Time passes. In the distance, you hear a sound of cartwheels rattling down the cobbles from the dock. They are quickly lost in the bustle of lower Care. You hear the footsteps of Guards marching past. Perhaps they will come here. But then they turn away. This place, it seems, is not very important enough to warrant a visit. Wait, even longer? Long minutes pass. Time passes. More time passes. Minutes pass. Time passes. How many times can I do this? More time passes. Long minutes pass. Okay, I'll do it 2 more. Actually, a couple more. Okay, let's try the door. Ignoring the dwarf instructions, you try the door. It is unlocked. Well, now if it's a trap, then they might have fallen asleep. Inside. You are in a wide room. Chairs line the walls, but there is no other furniture. If this is someone's house, then it has been meticulously robbed. But if not, you cannot see what furniture it does serve. But it cannot be abandoned. A fire in the heath blazes out heat. There is no sign of Saxmuth anywhere, but there are also no other drawers. Ooh, let's cast Sus. If I can. Sus. Sense danger. You cast the spell, and wait, as a calm voice enters your mind. It speaks in reassuring tones, telling you that you are quite safe and everything in this room can be trusted. Although not everything is quite as it appears. Then the voice fades. Let's look at the fire. You go over to the fire to warm your hands. It seems normal enough, and is hot enough to roast a pig. A voice booms out from nowhere. Please, it says, be seated. I'll sit down. You choose a seat near the door and sit down. Something strange happens the moment you take your weight off your feet. It is as though the far wall no longer exists. In its place is a long hallway, lined with cloth banners and torches on brass poles. 2 guards stand halfway down the hallway, and between them, you see Saxmuth deep in conversation. Let's watch. You hang back and watch the scene. I'm sorry, the first guard is saying. The council is in session and cannot be disturbed. In session? Squeals Saxmuth. Everyone knows the council has run away from the city. Zanzath has killed them all off. The guard smiles tightly in reply. The dwarf looks enraged. He is turning purple. Let's go over and help him. You stand and go to help the dwarf. I'm afraid the council is in session, the guard repeats, louder now. Then I need to see them, you declare firmly. No one sees the council when they are in session, the guard replies primly. Let's cast a spell. Can I cast the one that Jake, I believe? No, it doesn't look like that. Okay, let's see. Zap. Opens up locks and doors. Illusion of treasure. Let's cast that. Illusion of treasure. Dud. You cast the spell, creating a carefully managed illusion of a small bag of gold pieces, containing maybe 20 or 30 coins, which you offer to the guards. For your trouble, you suggested. What do you think? There is little discussion. The first guard opens the door, and Sexsmith storms inside. Nice! I didn't have to use any of my gold. Just one stamina. I know it's bribed, so I was guessing I probably could just give him money. This is the main council chamber of Care, a wide room, with a domed roof supporting by tall pillars, ornately carved with monsters, serpents, and instruments of torture. In the center, 12 throne-like seats are arranged in a circle, with one on a raised dais, presumably the seat of the first noble. All are empty. A chalk circle has been drawn just inside the ring of the thrones. At last, the dwarf declares, "Proof!" He strides forward, clearly intending to seat himself in the first noble's throne. Let's hang back. You hang back, watching to see what happens. He approaches the center of the room, where the chalk circle is marked. Then perhaps you blinked, or perhaps the dwarf ducked suddenly from sight. But where a moment ago he was standing, there is nothing there, and the room is quite empty. Let's examine the circle. It just disappeared. Must be similar to what was like outside. Examine the circle. You approach the chalk circle cautiously. It appears to be just what it seems. A circle inscribed on the stone floor of the room. The only remarkable thing about it is how perfect it is. It is a flawless curve. Let's follow the dwarf. Walk into the circle. You step toward the chalk circle. You feel nothing as you cross the boundary, but one moment you are in the council chamber. Then your foot touches nothing inside, and you are falling. You land with a splash in the dark and filthy water. This is a tunnel, filled with worst stench you can imagine. Things splash and scurry through the darkness. You pass a heap of cloth, a black cloth. A hell creature? This might be the dwarf. Let's investigate. You creep over the huddled rags. The shape of a man leant over, clutching his knees, but it does not seem to be moving. Touch it? It collapses at the slightest touch. Hello. Just playing some sorcery. And you breathe a sigh of relief. Just a pile of cloak, discarded by some previous unfortunate who traveled this way. Examine the cloak. You sift through the heavy cloth. This was a fine cloak, once, before it was left to brought down here. Stitched on the back is a number 1 in a circle. Waterlogged. The cloak is too heavy to carry away, but it proves that others have come this way before. Walk on. The sewer turns a corner here, with other tunnels blocked by filth-strewn wreckage. Let's move on. It is thick with sludge and foul droppings. You leave it well alone. You walk onwards through the dark sewer, then when suddenly the tunnel opens into a lower chamber. You stand ankle-deep in filth in a square chamber. Icy droplets fall from the ceiling. The smell is terrible. But this is not just any sewer. In the corner of the room is a pile of rags. Someone or something lives down here. Search the rags? You dig into the rags and cloth. They must have formed someone's bedding, and they could never have been clothing strips and odd squares of cloth of all different kinds. They have probably been scavenged from what people threw down the drains into the sewer. Let's leave it. You leave them be. They are no doubt flea infested. Look around the room. Despite your concerns, you stop to look around the walls of the chamber. Aside from the pile of rags, there is nothing else here. No stash of food or weapons, and no sign of inhabitation. Then you notice on the far wall some scratches in the stone, a mark of time perhaps? A sudden rush of water floods the chamber, sucking you up to the waist. A moment later it has washed away once more, but there might be more coming. Let's look at the marks, maybe it's from the dwarf. You make your way carefully around the cesspool in the middle of the room, to the far side where the marks are faintly visible in the gloom. They are not just notches, but letters, and perhaps once they were full words, but have been worn away by the flowing of water, or else filled in with slime and dirt. It looks as though it might have once been a poem. Let's read it. You peer at the markings on the wall. You can make out the following through the muck. Karaga's grace, one lock, deep inside, I bid you. Suddenly something growls in the darkness of the tunnel behind you. You look up and see a dark, stooped shape approaching fast. It is a rat bear. Okay, let's write this down. That's been meowing from her sleep. Okay, so I could cast a spell or draw my sword. Let's cast a spell. Let's see what I can do here. have that. Kid? I don't have that either. Law? Control non-intelligent creatures. You cast a spell and take command of the rat bear's will. Let's get rid of it. People do live down here. And the dwarf could be around here. You force its neck to bend until its head is submerged under the level of the water, and then you hold it there. The creature struggles and strains, despite desperate for breath, but the power of your spell is strong, and despite its howls and screams, it cannot lift its back. Hold it there. After a few moments, it swallows, taking in water and filth, and the last few bubbles of air escape from its lungs. The body of the creature falls within a deep splash into the water and disappears. You sigh with relief. You have found one clue. What's the scratch poem? Okay. You walk onwards through the sewer. Shadowy shapes loom out of the darkness, then disappear as you move close. Onwards. You walk for what seems like an hour, maybe more. The tunnel tilts lower and lower. Perhaps you are going underneath the river. The sound of fast rushing water fills the tunnel. Let's keep walking. I'm starting to run out low on stamina. You keep walking. The sound of rushing water is growing louder. Around a corner. Suddenly you realize the sound is coming from close by the tunnel or through the walls. The sound is coming towards you. Somewhere a wall of water is approaching. An old dam must have given away, and river water is now flowing through the tunnels. So I can pray for aid, shelter in an alcove, or run for it, or take a deep breath. Let's shelter. Take shelter. You dive into a alcove in the side of the tunnel as the great wave pounds into the tunnel, but it fills the sewers completely, and you are quickly pulled from your hiding place as though by 1,000 hands and submerged. The water wrenches you from the floor and throws you into a swirling spiral. You can see nothing but mud and the filth. Swim for it. The impact is sudden that you have no time to prepare. You have only a few moments of air left. Your lungs are bursting for air. So I can swim with the current, against the current, down to escape the flow, or swim up for the swimming duck. Guess I follow with it. The current is whipping you this way and that, like a featly bug in a thunderstorm. It is all you can do to work out which way is up and which way is down. You fight and struggle to get your body under control, losing valuable seconds of air. Let's swim up. You swim up towards the roof of the sewer, hoping to find an air pocket to refresh your breath. But you are out of luck. Your head hits the arched stone ceiling, which is fully submerged, even The ducts running up are filled with water. There is no air to be had down here. Swim up a duck. Lungs bursting, you reach a duct in the ceiling. Once inside, it wrenches you upwards with a powerful force. The stonework either side is a blur, and you crash, scrape, and bang into the sides painfully. Then suddenly you are spat up into a wider, colder water lit from above by silvery light. You are outside. I lost my rations and to health. You come up gasping for air, about a quarter of the way across the river that flows through the middle of Care. All around you is pitch darkness. You struggle and flow for a moment to get your head above water, and then turn around about to swim for the far bank. Of course, all your water-damageable possessions have been ruined. Thankfully, however, the pages of your spellbook are protected. So I can swim forward or dive under. Swim forward. You swim along the surface of the river, keeping your mouth clear on the filth as best you can, and aiming for distant lights of far bank. There is a figure moving there. A night watchman of some kind? Dive under. You take a deep breath, choking slightly from the noxious odor of filth-strewn jabaji, then dive under. Thick foul, mucus-ridden water streams up into your nostrils, and you make slow progress. Let's swim underwater. You keep going, swimming forward through the murk. Your lungs are starting to burst. Desperate for air, you have no idea how far across the river you are. Surely you cannot hope to make the whole way across. A dark shape looms through the brown water ahead of you. I gotta get back, go up. You break the surface once more, gasping for breath to find yourself close to the far bank. Unfortunately, the night watchman is standing directly above you, where you have surfaced. Men loom over you, looking at your half-blue face. No fit state for anything, a voice remarks. Another agrees. Damaged goods. Like will be angry. A blade moves lightning fast. What's my fate? You have been stabbed. Your adventure is at an end. Okay. So our second rewind. Okay, so swim forward. Let's keep swimming this time, and then dive next time. You keep on swimming, carving your way quickly across, keen to be out of Jabaji as soon as possible. Suddenly, a voice rings out across the river. There's someone in the water, a man's voice calls. One of these slaves is escaping. One by one, more lanterns appear, lighting up the stars as they emerge from around the sides of buildings and down the narrow alleys to waterfront. Let's keep swimming. You keep swimming. Suddenly, something hisses through the air, past your head. An arrow. The next moment, the arrow disappears back into the darkness, pulled on a rope. The men on the bank are fishing for you. Um, it's like a turn back or dive under. Let's dive under. You dive quickly under the water. For a moment you are alone, isolated in the brown water. Another arrow shoots past your head. Swim forwards. You keep swimming forwards, but no arrows strike. Perhaps they have lost track of you in the water, since you are not swimming back as they might have expected, but forwards. You move slowly and silently, coming up for air when you need to, but breathing only softly and gently. After several minutes of this, you arrive at the far bank. Let's check if it's safe. You wait, shivering in the freezing cold water of the river, but the men and the lanterns are lit further along the bank. You should be safe to climb out here. You haul yourself up and pant gratefully in the dark. The far bank. You look around in the darkness. The far bank is less populated than the near bank. There are no inns, no market stalls, just a single path disappearing off into the darkness between large stone buildings. You are too tired from your swimming to walk on, so you crawl under a bush and make camp. You are exhausted and could do with something to eat, but there is nothing you can do. All your food has been ruined by the water. Sleep. Time to get some rest. You close your eyes and are quickly asleep. Your dreams are cleared and crazy. A red-eyed being looms at you. Face after face laughs at you. Ask about your spells. 4, says one. There are 11 spells. 13. 49. Music builds around you, and you are spinning, faster and faster, in smaller circles. River water fills your mouth and makes you choke, but the water is thriving with fishes, each of which wants to tell you its life story. And somewhere beneath your feet you hear a man cackling with laughter. The crown is on your head, beyond your reach. The next morning. Dawn comes. You are woken by the shimmering light across the surface of the Jabaji River. But the idyllic morning is quickly broken, as the first of the boats begin to sail down the river, the sailors cursing and singing filthy songs that echo between the buildings on either side. You have almost become accustomed to the terrible smell here. Start moving. You follow the road away from the river, towards a fork in the road. If there are any nobles still in the seaport, the houses are most likely to be on the side of the river. But which way? To the fork of the road. The early morning sun is beginning to wake the streets of Care. A few creatures roam this way and that. In one corner a spring bubbles with fresh water. I can drink from the fountain. Look around, move on, or ask for directions. Let's ask for directions. You stop a passing creature. Excuse me, I need to ask you. The creature head is bowed, and it doesn't look up, but it pulls itself free and hurries away. It is too miserable to speak. Let's look around then. Looking left, the road heads through into a residential area that seems well cared for. A short way off, to the right, is a open plaza. There's nothing for it. You'll have to explore for yourself. Okay, let's turn left. Okay, you follow a narrow, winding street past shops and stalls. It is still early and they are not yet open, but there are stirring from within the houses as the day's activities begin. A face appears at one window and seems to watch you pass, although the creature's eyes are closed and you are not sure that it actually notices you. Let's call out. You call out a greetings to the creature, who turns its head, but still he does not open his eyes. Perhaps the morning light is too bright for him. Another similar creature stands in the doorway across the street, washing themselves from a bucket. This one is thin and spindly, with a long face. Not exactly human, and not an elven either, but something in between. Greet it? You try to greet the washing creature, but it too has its eyes closed. At the end of the road, under a low arch, a group of youths are luring, talking and kicking stones into the gutter. They notice you, and begin to point and talk amongst themselves. Let's be a little cautious, look them over. You pause to look at them. They too have their eyes closed, although somehow they have seen you. Or perhaps they have only heard you? Approach. You continue down the street towards them. They fan out a little until they fill the width of the narrow road. Above you, shutters are closing and people move away from windows as though, despite their eyes, they have seen a fight coming. So I can greet them, open my way through, close my own eyes, or cast a spell. Let's greet them. You approach the group boldly. So I could say, good morning, or get out of the way, children, or you on the street, I see. And say, good morning. You bow your head as you talk respectfully, despite the children being so young. They scoff in return. One of them step forward. This is the street of the red eyes, he says quietly, and we don't welcome white whiteites around here. Would you like to see what we do to them? No. You reply, I can do without. The leader laughs. One of the other youths blinks once, and for a moment you see his eyes, flashing red balls of flame. You should not think, the leader whispers. But here's a taste, he says. The youth opens his eyes, and suddenly a streak of burning fire shoots from under his eyelids, scorching your side. You gasp in pain, and he laughs. Then the other creature grabs your arms from either side. Don't struggle, one whispers, or we'll look at you all over. You are marched away through the alleyways to a building surrounded by high wall. It is a prison. You are dragged across the yard and into an underground corridor. A cell door is opened and you are thrown inside, landing squarely on top of another creature. Let's greet the creature. You pick yourself to your feet and dust yourself down. Apologies, friend, you say to your cellmate. Is a elven, but he seems worn out and exhausted. The creature nods to you. Welcome to my little world, he replies. Oh, I think I have a key for this area. No keys. One of the keys, like one of the people mentioned, red eyes. I think they talked about this location specifically. Okay, before I do that, let's ask. Who are you? You ask. My name on the outside hardly seems to matter, the elven replies, with a smile. My name in here is number 6, and that'll be your name, too. He points a bony finger. It's written on the door, see? From the sound coming through the walls, this is one of several cells, all side by side. You hear snores, shouts, and screams coming through the stonework. What is this place? You ask. This is the jail of the Red Eyes, the elven says. There's one outside, and he points at the guard, who faces, with eyes closed, fills the tiny porthole. The cell is empty except for a bucket. Murmuring an apology, the elven uses it for what it's for. Why are you here? You know, the elven replies, with a sigh of some passion. I have asked myself that every night since I was arrested months ago, and I still can't figure it out. I didn't do anything to upset the people. My only idea is that the Red Eyes aren't happy unless they've got someone locked away. He smiles thinly. Maybe now you're here, they'll let me go. Ask something else. You don't answer that. There seems no good answer to give. You're an elven, you say. I've not met your kind before, but I know of you. He shrugs. Elvens are pretty annoying creatures, he says. But that's not what they locked me up for. The smell from the bucket of the corner of the room is quite terrible. Well, let's ask. How can we escape, you ask? Escape? The elven laughs. If there is a way to escape, do you think I would be here? And do you think I haven't tried? I'm an elven. You're not known for sitting still. We're not known for sitting still. And it's true. Even as he talks to you, he is constantly fidgeting. Okay, let's try a key. You dig through your pack for keys. I can't remember which one's which, so let's try the copper key. You wait for the guard to turn away from the door, then hurry forward with the key given to you by the beggar outside Cristatanti. It turns. The elven claps his hand, careful to be silent, and the two of you slide the door open. The guard's back is still turned. You have a chance. So I can run him through with my sword, throw my giant net over him, pick up the bucket, or cast a spell. Let's use my giant's net. You pull over the giant's net that's you found in the cave in Laiki. Then spring, throwing it over the guard and wrapping up his arms behind his back. I've got him. But you have not covered his eyes. So when he turns around and opens them, a blast of fire is devastating. What's my fate? You have been burned alive by a red eye. The adventure is at an end. Okay, let's rewind then. Let's do the same options. Okay, try a key. So try the copper key. Well, let's pick up the bucket. Moving silently, you pick up the bucket from the floor of the cell. The elven looks at you curiously. Put the bucket on the guard's head. You raise the bucket nice and high, creeping forward on tiptoes. Then at the last possible moment, you bring it quickly down over the guard's head. Unmentionably substance trickle down his face, but for a moment he cannot see. Let's run him through. Drawing your sword, you slice quickly through his neck. The elven looks shocked, but only for a moment. Then he nods seriously. When the others find him, be sure they will come for us, unless we are gone. You nod. He is quite right. Time to run for it. You race up a set of stairs, heading towards a patch of sunlight, and emerge in a alleyway on the other side of the prison wall, the oven at your back. I was hoping to save the other prisoners. My guessing was that they were also just taken there for no reason. Outside the jail. You emerge out a quiet side street and begin to weave in duck through the alleyways. The elven, weak from his long stay in a tiny cell, can barely keep pace with you, but is filled with such joy to be free that he laughs even as he trips and stumbles. Let's turn left. At the first junction, you turn left. Do you know where you're going? Asks the elven, but there isn't time to reply. Turn left. At the next junction, you go left. The elven is staggering. Oops. At the next junction, you go left. The elven is flagging. He cannot keep running like this anymore. Go on, he gasps from several strides behind. I'll hide here. Let's help him. You're nearly free, you replied, grabbing the elven under his arm. I mean it, he hisses, shaking himself free. I'll hide, you idiot, while you distract any more guards with your running. Now go. Good plan, you reply. It would have been, the elven replies, and you turn to see he's quite right. Another guard has entered the alley behind you. He opens his eyes, and for a moment later, the staggering elven is no more. The stench of burning flesh in your nostrils. You race out of the alley. Quite suddenly, you emerge out from the alleyway into a narrow street filled with smoke. You force yourself to stop running and catch your breath. I don't like that. Oh, a street. The street is filled with sharp acrid smell. Burning, looking up ahead, you see a column of smoke. Is the district on fire? So I could go down an alleyway or cast a spell. Let's see, what kind of caster? I don't think Sus is gonna help here. Protect from magic. Fog. Force field? Yeah, I guess the force field could help. You cast the spell, surrounding yourself with the force field. If there is fire up ahead, you should be protected. Push onwards. You creep forwards, rounding a corner in the road, until you can see the source is a fire, but not a blazing house. Instead, it comes from an enormous forge set into a large blacksmith shop. The blacksmith himself is at work, hammering away at a flat-bladed sword. I feel like I wasted some stamina there. Approach him. You approach the blacksmith and try to attract his attention by waving, but it seems the blacksmith is quite deaf. Years of hammering on sparking mouths has left him quite oblivious to everything around him. Tap his arm. You walk over and tap his arm. The blacksmith jumps. "Didn't see you there," he bellows, too loudly. The man seems pleasant enough. "I didn't mean to scare you." "Not scared," the blacksmith replies hotly. "Me? Of you? Nah." The blacksmith polishes his blade lovingly. "Tell me about your swords." "This one is my finest," he replies proudly, indicating the blade he is currently polishing up. A blade of large hand. Large hand? Large hand, the blacksmith agrees. It's large handry. You reach out to try the blade, but the blacksmith catches your arm. "I warn ya," he says. "Once you've tried it, you won't want any other, and it's not a cheap blard." "I'm curious. I'll risk it." This blacksmith shrugs, and you release your arm. "Go on, then." You pick up the blade and swing it through the air. It sings. The weight is perfect, the mouth sharpened, the balance is delicate, to become almost an extension of your arm. This is the finest blade you've ever held. "How much?" The blacksmith grins. "I told ya. You ready for it? 40 gold pieces." 40? The blacksmith nods. "That's right. 40. I don't have that much." The blacksmith nods and takes the blade back with a loving care. "It's far its own sooner enough, I'm sure." "Do you sell weapons? Silver weapons, you ask?" The blacksmith nods. "I mark 'em," he answers, "but I don't some. I sells through the market. He nods his head past the Pasture Square towards Graveyard. Did a nice bow Nara. Nice bow Nara. The blacksmith quickly hammers something. The noise makes your head spin. I'm interested in the North Gate spell. I make swords, he replies with a shrug. Not magic. You want a shard, maybe? The blacksmith goes over to the back of his shop and downs a quick mug of ale. I'd best do work, he says as he returns. Begone. Then he begins to hammer so loudly you fear for your hearing, so you quickly run out of the shop. I've only had 40 gold pieces. Continue up the road. You walk between the narrow buildings until you reach a fork. To the left, the road continues toward some kind of bustling market, while to the right it leads down a shore street. On the center of the fork is great bronze statues with some kind of pot as feet. Let's look close at the statue. A statue is of a giant brute wielding a club, and at its feet is a large pot filled with gold pieces. This must be one of Cair's many gods, with a pot intended for worship making offerings. Let's look down the short street. Looking down the short street to the right, you see a sign above a doorway reading, The Gambling Halls of Velada. Oh, we heard someone we play dice with talk about this. Several seedy-looking creatures mill about on the steps. Cheerful creatures go in, and miserable-looking ones come out. Make a move. Time to move on. If I could get enough money from this, then I could, get money from this and then go buy that sword. Or I could just waste all my money, which is the most likely option by doing this. You enter the shade of a long hall filled with bodies and smoke, but strangely silent. No one is speaking, and the only noise is the constant rattling of dice, which rolls around the raftered ceiling like thunder. Only the occasional cheer and curses break the mood. By the door is a booth, and the gambling tables are out in the main hall. A great cheer goes up from one of the tables. Let's look at the booth. You go to the booth, where the spin lady is handing out gambling chips. She smiles at you. Welcome, sir, she croons in a voice which sounds like a crocodile pretending to be a songbird. How much can I get you? How much should I take? You ask. I'm new here. Oh, she purrs. We love new players at the halls of Balada. You give us all your gold. No real money is allowed on the premise. Then when you leave, we give you what we've got. You still got. I mean, what you've won. It's very simple. What's the game? You ask. The lady laughs at you. What else? She replies. Swindlestones. Do you know how to play? Of course, you reply. I could hardly be in care for a day and not know. No, she replies. Then she drops her voice down low. But you'll find the players here are quite good. Ah, you hand over all your money. The spin lady counts it out slowly and meticulously as though she was not very good at counting. Then she hands over 8 chips. Have fun, she says cheerfully, gesturing to the gambling floor. So I do have, let's check items. Was it treasure? Okay, yeah, it's treasure. 8. Oh, I went forward, okay. You walk out into the hall. Players of all races and descriptions sit either side of 2 long wooden benches, starting games with each other, fighting them out, and then exchanging chips and moving on. It is like a kind of stately dance, played with great dedication and almost entirely in silence. The old man, a grizzled sailor, and a bristly innkeeper are waiting to play. You notice the old man has only one arm. Let's look at the tables. The tables are arranged in different sections by size of the bet, and the number of dice to be played. Sad-looking creatures move down from high-stakes tables to lower ones. Brassy and bold creatures move up. At the 2-chip table are the old man and the sailor. At the table with the 10-chip bet, the innkeeper is waiting to play. The old man and the sailor have just finished their game. The old man must have won, because she stands cracking her knuckles, and moves to a 5-piece table. The sailor shifts down the table with a 5-chip wager. So let's pick a table. At one end, games are being played for stakes as low as 2 gold pieces. At the other end, players are betting 20 on each game. Most tables also offer long games, with 4 or 5 dice each, alongside shorter 2 or 3 dice games. But not all the tables have players ready to play. You look across the tables. Places at the 5 gold piece table are occupied by the old man and the sailor. At the 10-chip table, the innkeeper is ready. Let's see, so short 5 gold or long 5 gold. Let's go to the short one. You sit down opposite the old man from the prison. He leers at you, but does not appear to recognize your face. The old man hands you your dice and waves at you to bid. Roll dice. Okay, let's say I have 1, 2. Hello again, old man. They haven't locked you up again, then? Sorry, friend. Have we met? We met in prison, remember? Huh. You must be drunk. I've never been in prison. I don't get it. What's the joke? Let's see about that. Only 2 threes. The round is yours. You're new to the halls of Lada, are you? You know I am. I came through the gate yesterday. I just meant I heard you talking to the lady in the booth. You were listening in? It's good to know what to expect from your opponents. I doubt you have 3 twos. Call. Only 1 2. The round is yours. Roll dice again. So why are you pretending you don't know me? I'm not pretending. If it wasn't you, the man I met looked a lot like you. Well then, that'll be it then. There can't possibly be 4 ones. Call. Only 2 ones. The game is yours. You take his last die away, winning the game. Here you are then, the old man says barely, and hands over 5 chips. You now have 13. He gets up and moves over to lower stake table. Stay put. The sailor counts out 5 dice, each, and waves at you to bid. Roll dice. Whoa. So you're a sailor. Hoi si toil? It's the grizzled expression. Let's say 5 fours. I own that. Ha ha ha. 5 4. The round is mine. Home. Oin okay. I'll have so 1 1, 2 twos, 1 3, and 1 4. So let's say I have 3 twos. Let me see. I can't understand you at all. The sailor wins the round. Dang. Let's see. Let's start at 1 1. Let's say there's 3 threes. Humph. Let's say there's 4 fours. Okay, let's call. Yes, I win. 1-3? What are you even about to say? Let's say there's 1-4. He says there's 2 2s. Okay. Two 3s. 2 4s. Okay, let's say there's 4 2s. No, 3 2s. Let me see. 3 2s. He calls. Reveal dice. Yes! The round is mine. I'm looking for the nobles of the city. I'm a sailor. Most nobles don't hand row docks. Okay, let's say there's 3 4s. Got him. By our one done doing the dock, someone said, thus a nobles has on the riverfront. I can't understand your accent at all. The round is mine. Roll dice. Toya wit. Drolan ain't na gold for ma. What's that? When you've unbought as on as I've understood. Okay, so I have to say this because he probably has a 4. I'll raise it to 3 4s. Now I know there's not 4, so call. You've gone too high. He couldn't really do anything because he probably thought I had 2 4s. You win the round. With a frown, the sailor hands over 5 chips. You have 18. Stay put. So I'm fighting the sailor again. How often do you come here? Let's actually say I have 2 1s. To Kyoryamon or Balada? Both. I don't know, he said. You must like it here then. Only 4 2s. The round is mine. Ugh. Bleh. Are you alright? Let me say. Nah, toy. It's Broiland. Always makes me stomach coil. I hope it isn't putting you off your game. Call. 2 1s. Yes, I tricked them. Okay, let's say I have 2 3s. What's your boat called? Joyce Roisin Boyle. The Rising Boyle? That's a horrible name. Joyce Foin Fossil. Nom e no nom me. Sounds like it. Only 3 1s. Let's say I'll play 2 1s. I'll raise 3 1s. I don't even have one. I don't buy that. Only 1 1. That's funny. Roll dice again. Tricking him. This is fun. Okay. So let's choose 1 3, 1 4. Let's go to the amount I have. No, 4 4s. Very well, let's go higher. 4 4s. Aha! I got him. I don't think so. Only 4 4s. The game is mine. You flick the sailor's final dice off the table with a grin. My game, you tell him. With a frown, the sailor hands over 5 chips. You now have 23. He bids you a farewell and shifts to the table with 2 chip steaks. Okay, let's change table. You get back to your feet in the hall. Okay. Let's wait and watch. You sit back and watch for a while. The players on the tables form. Oh, I didn't read the first part. Let me read that. The Sven lady leaves the booth at the front of the hall and makes a circuit of the room, offering refreshments at the cost of 4 gambling chips, and the burly innkeeper buys 2 rolled-up flatbreads and devours them without looking. You sit back and wait and watch for a while. The players on the tables form themselves into pairs and settle down to play in deathly silence. The rattle of dice fills the halls like the clash of swords in a bracket room. Nearby on the cheap tables, the old man and the sailor finish a tenth game. The sailor is now broke, and swearing colorfully, he marches out of the hall to find something to drink. The pious-looking monk steps into the hall, looks about, and then sits down at the table with 10 chip bets. Someone curses from the back of the hall, but no one seems to notice. Okay, let's pick an opponent. The monk is looking flush, while the old man is looking down on his luck. The other players seem to be doing not as badly. Well, no reason to fight the old man. Let's play against the monk. Pretend. You join the monk at his table. He bows his cowled head in greeting. The monk counts out 2 dice and waves at you to bid. Roll dice. Oh man, this is dangerous. Let's begin with... How about we begin with 1, 2? Huh. Well then, 2 threes. Okay, how about 3 threes? Buy off? I'll raise it 4 threes. Let's see about that. Call. Roll dice again. I have asked Falada many times to allow candles in here, but it would make the ritual much better. The ritual? Home. Haha. The most holy ritual that we play now. This is just a game to me. Call. Only 1 3. The game is yours. You take the last die away, winning the game. Your monk places 10 chips into your palm. I hope you're content to steal from a charitable donation made by the devout in the city. You now have 33. He nods once and moves over to the lower stake table. Okay, let's stay put. Uh-oh. You stay seated at your table. The innkeeper takes the seat opposite to play around. The innkeeper hands you your dice and waves at you to bid. 5 dice. This round, why is this question? Maybe you can help me. I need to find the nobles of the seaport. Well, time was they were in the council. These days they're all hiding. Hiding from what? From Bick. He's going to take the city. He's going to have to fight on his hands. He's going to have to fight on his hands. I bid 6. Okay, I don't know if they roll all 6, or no, they'd have to roll all 5 and be counting mine. Let's see about that. Call. Only 5 fours. Sweet. Hmm. So you have been to Velada before? No? Are you a regular? Haha. I've funded the building of my inn from here. You should be a better liar then. Yes! So you run an inn here in Care? Well, used to. My brother runs it now, by the gate. Say there's... What do you do now? Well, I'm saving up, trying to earn me a little more. Oh, there's only 3 threes. So he wins. So, you've been in Care a while? Just over a day. You see any wolves? Wolves? I've heard people muttering it in my inn. Armored wolves stalking the streets at night. I'm guessing he has 4 with my 2. Let's see if this works. He calls, all 3 of his need to be 4s. Oh, he didn't even have but the 1. Wolves inside the walls? That's what I've heard, and not just normal wolves either. They say they're armored. Why would anyone armor a wolf? I don't know. Unless they were going up against someone with armor of their own. Let's call. Yes. Okay, so that probably means he's going to bid 2 3s if I don't. So I'll bid 2 3s. I'll raise that 3 4s. I'll call. I got him. Now he only has 1 die. Let's open with 1 2. I bid 2 2s. Sweet. That's not even possible. You win the round. With the hearty laugh, the innkeeper hands over 10 chips. You now have 43. He stands and, with a sorrowful chuckle, he salutes to the general crowd and staggers from the hall. Let's change table. You stand once more in the hall. A hungry-looking beggar girl enters. Look at the tables. You go across the tables. At the lowest stake table is the old man. At the table with the 5-chip wager is the monk. On the other side of the room, at the higher stake table, is the beggar girl is waiting. The Swin lady brings around more food and snacks. Let's buy something to eat. You buy a hill fox thigh and eat it quickly. A creature with only 1 eye gets up, sobbing, and runs out of the hall. It seems it has lost the other eye in a bet. Okay, let's pick the opponent. The girl seems to be on a winning streak, while the old man is looking down on his luck. The other player seems to be not as bad, to be doing as badly. Let's play the monk. The monk counts out 3 dice each and waves you a bid. I notice my spirit is now a bad burn. Okay, I have 1 1. 2 2s, okay, let's say there's 3 2s. 4 2s. So all his dice would have to be 2 if that's the case. Call. Got him. He has 1 1. My bid is 1-4. 2 fours? Ooh, I think I messed up there. Okay, 3 ones. Yeah, there's nothing I could have done there. After I screwed up. Let's say... What lies beyond this hall? 1-4. You are almost out of the city port. There is a market and a great necropolis of care. What is necropolis like? Necropolis is a place of dead and of death. I do not go there. I wish I was able to figure out what he was using first. 1-2. It's a 1-3. 1-4. Ah, man, that's my die. I was able to do 1. Two fours? Oh, I got him! That was just luck. Okay. Let's start with... What's a monk doing gambling for money? I'm a monk of Effie, goddess of chance. This is one of her most devout rituals. You gamble as ritual? Um, then I'm happy to help you with your worship. Call. Only 1-2. The game is yours. You flick the monk's final die off the table with a grin. I win, you tell him. The monk hands you another 5 chips while cursing it under his breath. You have 44. He rises and shifts to the table with the 2-chip steak. Oops. Okay, let's change my table. In the hall. Look at the tables. You look across the tables. At the 2-chip tables are the old man and the monk. At the table with the 10-chip bet, the girl is ready. The old man and the monk have played each other. The monk must have won, because he stands, barks a laugh, and moves to the 5-stake table. The thin lady brings around more food and snacks. Okay, let's play The girl is looking rich, while the old man is looking down on his luck. The other player seems to be doing not so badly. So let's face the beggar girl. What's her? The girl hands you dice and waves at you to bid. You made it across the river. Well, I did. The old fool on the bridge didn't charge anything this morning, so here I am. Is it what you expected? 3/4. I'm not complaining. Let's see about that. Call. Only 3/4. The round is yours. So I have always wanted to come here. This is where the best players in Care come to play. Then I wish you luck. I don't need luck. I need skill, and I've got skill. But do you have enough? Well, more than you, I'm thinking. Oh, she wins. I say 2 3s. Or is it 2 4s? See, 3 4s. Here's the bid. 4 4s. Okay, let's call. 3 4s. The round is yours. 1 2. And say it's 3 2s. Yikes. 4 4s. She called. Bill dice. There are 4 4s. Sweet. Let's see. 2 1s. 2 4s. 3 4s. Nope. Call. There are 3 4s. She lands 1 more die. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to beat you as quickly as I can. No pay on a beginner then. 2 4s. I've been saving up to come here for weeks. I'm not about to mess it up now. You just messed up just now. You take her last die away, winning the game. With a frown, the beggar girl hands over 10 chips. You now have 44. She gets up to her feet and moves over to the lower stake table. Let's stay put. You remain at the same table. No one joins you to play. You stand back and watch the players. I guess I took everyone's money.
44 gold now?
Yeah,
You go buy that sword.
I want that sword.
I don't think you go backwards.
That would suck. I'll have money though. Although I might get somebody to try and steal my money when I walk out. Over on the tables with the 5-chip wager, the monk and the beggar girl have just finished the game. The monk is now broke, and uttering a holy curse, he slinks out of the hall. Look at the tables. You look across the tables. At the cheap table is the old man, At the table with 5 chips is the beggar girl. The Sven lady brings out more food and snacks. Let's see, how many do I have again? It's 4, I believe, or is it 6? I can't remember. I have 54. I think I'll buy more snacks. Really need to heal up. Buy a glass of mead. I guess I cash out. You have had enough. You return to the cash your chips at the booth. Oh, it's only 2? The Sven lady smiles and exchanges your chips for 50 gold pieces. You have done well, she exclaims. You reply with a smile and head back into the streets. You head up the road towards the giant statue once more. Make a move. The day is drawing on. Oh, I can go back to the blacksmith's. Sweet. Back to the blacksmith's. You return to the blacksmith with enough gold to buy the legendary sword. The man greets you with a beaming smile. You're to take my baby, is you? The price is the same, Barty. I'll buy it, you declare, handing over 40 gold pieces. The man hands the sword to you in return. Its lines are perfect, its weight delicate. It is the finest blade you've ever seen. You thank him and return to the square.
You should look at it in your inventory.
All right, good idea. Weapons.
Kind of wonder if we had a spell on it or something to make you want it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. I was also thinking it could be a sword that breaks in one hit. So I might be able to use it one time and then it just
Is
breaks.
it made out of silver?
I don't think so. I think he said he sold the silver sword somewhere else.
Legendary sword. +4.
+4? Wow. You head up to the road towards the giant once more. You still have plenty of ground to cover. Okay, I could go back in. The left fork. You follow the road around the side of the gambling hall to a wide open space laid out for a market. There are several stalls, all selling the same goods. Their traders arguing loudly over who has the cheapest or best quality. Well, I think the sword will be good enough. Although they might have silver swords. I'm not sure if this is silver or not. Let's browse at weapons just to see. You take a turn. I could sell the legendary sword. You take a turn about the armor stalls. Mostly what's on sale is poor quality or weaker than the blade you already carry, but something catches your eye. A fine bow with a quiver of silver-tipped arrows. Silver-tipped arrows. Test the bow. You lift the bow and test the string. It seems firm and responsive, and although you have little use for ranged weapons, this one seems hardy enough. The quiver is interesting. It contains 10 arrows, but each has a tip made not of steel, but of pure silver. The armor nods at you significantly as you discover this. For you know what? How much? You ask the figure. The trader is referring to the undead, who can only be harmed with silver. 6 gold pieces. Sweet, I'll buy the bow. Hold on, I'm gonna be out of money already. Oh, I could go back to the gambling and... Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I like the bow, you tell the armor. He makes a great fuss of packaging it up, but eventually hands over the bow and the quiver. You pay him 6 gold pieces. Let's see. It even says bow and silver arrows. I'm gonna write down that I have 10 arrows. Because it doesn't say anywhere. Oh, I didn't look everywhere though. Okay, yeah. Make the move on through the market. You turn it down the trader and move on through the market. Browse at useful gear. You browse around the stalls selling useful gear and items for travelers, and come across 2 things which might be useful. The first is a tinder box for lighting fires, though it will not work without tinder. And the second is a bottle of snakebite antidote. The tinder box costs 2 pieces and the antidote 3. I might gamble my 4 gold and try and make up back to the top just so I can buy this stuff. You place the goods and walk away. Browse at magical items. You scour the market for items that might be useful to you in magic, but find nothing except one jeweler's stand which, in amongst a lot of very expensive and overpriced jewelry, is offering a sun jewel for sale at the exorbitant price of 15 gold pieces. Leave it. You thank the trader and leave the stall, walking back into the market. Browse provisions. Now this is the place I want to probably get food. Browsing the stalls, you find food is reasonably expensive, with the cheapest provision being sold at 3 gold pieces each. One trader is almost selling a wrapped package of 6 mils worth of 15 gold, but you do not have enough for that. You place the goods and walk away. So back to the statue. You head back to the road towards the towering statue and the halls of Velada. You head back towards the square until you are standing in the sight of the giant statue once more. You still have plenty of ground to cover. Let's go back. You return to the halls of Velada. They are just as you left them. It is like no one has moved. By the door is a booth, and the gaming tables are out in the main hall. The man who cheered a moment before now curses loudly and stomps out of the hall. The booth. You go over to the booth again. This thin lady smiles. How much can I get you? Give her my gold. You hand over all your money. The thin lady counts it out slowly and meticulously, as though she was not very good at counting. Then she hands over 4 chips. Have fun, she says cheerfully, gesturing to the gaming floor. Look at the tables. You look across the tables. At the low-stake table is the old man. At the table with the 5-chip bet is the beggar girl. Okay, let's choose the old man. The old man is looking down on his luck. The other player seems to not be doing as badly. Roll dice. Only 2. Let's say there is 1 3. I'm looking for the nobles of the city, but they seem hard to find. I'm sure they are. Most of them are dead. But I must speak to them. I heard of 2 of them still being up and about, both somewhere near here. Exactly where, though? No idea. Ooh, 2 nobles nearby? Let's call. Only 2 4s. The round is mine. I used to run a stall in the artists' quarter, you know? Oh yes, were you an artist? No, I ran the stall for a girl who made clay sculptures. She was good too. Sounds idyllic. Only 1 2. You win the round. The old man furrows his brow deeply as he passes you 2 chips. You have now 6. He bids you farewell, and, with a sigh, he slinks from the hall. Let's stay put. You stay put at your table. Look at the tables. You look across the tables. At the medium table is the beggar girl. Okay. The smart beggar girl seems to be faring well enough. The girl hands you your dice and waves you to bid. 5 dice. Let's say I have 2 1s. Once you made a fortune here, what will you do then? I'm going to buy myself a nice little room in one of the houses on Powelton Hill and grow flowers. What kind of flowers? Not black roses, if that's what you're thinking. There are 5 3. The round is yours. I believe I only said 4, so if there's more than the amount, it still gives it to you. Or them. Very good. 2 3s. There's 3 2s. 3 4s. 4 3s. Let's call. 3 3s. The round is mine. Let's begin with 1 1. Raise it 2 1s. 3 1s. 4 1s. Sweet, I got her. Only 2 ones. The round is yours. One three. 3 threes. Ah, she got me. I went too high, I guess. Okay, 1 2. 1 4. Let's say 2 fours. 3 fours. Ooh. Let's call. Yes! The round is mine. She only has 1 die. Okay. So unless she doesn't have a 2, I'll get this. She didn't have a 2. Full dice. 1 3. 2 threes. Got her. Only 1 3. The girl curses and flicks one of her dice out of her hand. You flick the girl's final die off the table with a grin. My game, you tell her. With a frown, the beggar girl hands over 5 chips. You now have 11. You get to your feet. Look at the tables. You look across the tables. At the table with the 5-chip wager is the beggar girl. You look for a table with a partner ready. Oh, that's the only tip I can do. Let's say 2 threes. 3 fours. Say 4 fours. 5 fours. Let's continue it. I'm guessing she had that amount. 6 fours. There we go. Let's see. Yes! The round is mine. 1 2. Let's say 3 twos. 4 twos. Call. Let's start with 2 twos. 3 threes. And not 3s, 4s. Let's say there are 4 fours then. 5 fours? That means all of her dice had to be 4. Plus mine. Oh, all of them were. 2 fours. 3 4s. 4 4s. 5 4s. Yes! Glad I didn't call. Okay. 2 1s. 2 3s. I'll say 2 4s. 4 3s. I think she has 2 3s, so. She called. Ah. 1 4. Say 2 3s. 2 4s. 3 4s. Does she have 4 is the question? Oh, she had 2 4s. Okay. 1 3. 2 3s, got her. Only 1 3. The round is yours. With a frown, the beggar girl hands over 5 chips. You now have 16. She nods to you and shifts to the 2-chip table. Stay put. You remain at the table. No one comes to challenge you. Once again you spectate in the corner of the room. You notice a gnome, who rushes in through a crackle in the wall, steals something from one player's pocket, then it's gone. Cool. I met the gnome earlier, and we knew that he wanted to steal money. Follow the gnome. You dash after the gnome, curious to see what he has stolen. A crack in the wall leads to a path that heads out through a wasted area of fallen down buildings. You lose sight of the gnome amongst the rubble. The track? This is a narrow dirt track. Oh, I just left? And, no, this is a narrow dirt track that dodges around piles of rubble and either side of the street. It looks as though a gigantic boulder has rolled down the path, crushing everything in its wake. Even the pebbles underfoot have been ground to fine dust. There is no sign of the gnome at all. A few blue berries grow by the side of the track. Look at the berry plant. Kneeling down by the small plant, you look more closely at the blue berries. They seem perfectly ripe and glisten with juiciness, but you do not recognize them. Smell the plant. You lean in close and take a deep breath from the plant. The smell is sweet and rich and quite enticing. Let's leave it. Could be poisonous. Probably is. You leave the berries and move along. Oh, I can't go back inside. How much treasure do I have? 16? Follow the track. You emerge from the track into a wide area of wasteland. Once this was a busy city district, but now is looking as though a hurricane has leveled it. Nothing stands higher than head height. A few staircases lead to nowhere, and in some places a door still stands. Plants grow from every crevice and crack, as though someone had poured green plant paint over the whole scene. Things are constantly moving and shifting between the leaves. Follow the road. The road, such as it is quickly smothered by piles of wreckage. There are lots of other ways to pick your way through. One possible route leads up and over the side of the broken down house. Another passes by what might have once been a mill. You would have climbed over the mill wheel to continue this way. Look at the broken house. The house has been sliced, like a many-layered cake, showing the floors that were once inside. Open rooms have been stripped of their color by the wind and light, and of their possessions by a decade or more of scavengers, but there are still hints that this place was once a family home. The hooks in the ceiling above the hearth, the marks notched on the ground floor pillar that suggests the height of growing children. Look at the mill. Who would have built a mill out here, so far from the river? Still, there is a gigantic mill wheel lying on its side in the path. Despite the state the building next to it is in, the wheel itself seems perfectly intact, and has not even lost its perfect circular shape. Let's climb over the broken house. You clamber up the fallen rubble to the roof of the broken building. From here you get a clear view across the rest of the wasteland. It stretches for a mile or two and will take about an hour to cross on foot, and at its far side a tall iron fence thick with ivy slices across the land, perhaps to keep the people of the wasteland out, or to keep whatever is beyond the fence in. In the distance you see the dark shapes of moving across the sky. Climb down the other side of the house. You make your way down the far side of the building and back onto the path beyond, which soon forks. I wasn't entirely meaning to just leave the place. Okay. Let's go closer to the necropolis. Necropolis. You make your way through the wasteland towards the church. Most of the buildings in the ruins, but a tall steep still reaches for the sky. Circling the steeple are two dark shapes that look like enormous birds. At the foot of the church, a man dressed in rags is curled up, asleep. Look at him. You stop and peer down to look at him. Under a floppy hat and above a thick briar bush beard, two white eyes glow slightly like orbs. This poor creature is not only blind, he has no eyelids at all. Let him sleep. You slip past him, careful not to wake him. The poor creature no doubt needs his rest. You follow the path around the edge of the wasteland. While after a while, another path joins this one. Looking back along it, you see a broken fountain. A track climbs the rise at your back towards a low hovel. This is a far edge of the wasteland. Ahead, you make out a line of tall, dark trees. Let's go toward the fence. You pass at the tree and an ancient iron fence overgrown with weeds. Through the dense leaves you can make out the wide area beyond, dotted with stones and small buildings and straight, somber trees. It is a necropolis of mausoleums and tombs. Climb the ivy. You test the ivy. It seems tightly wound around the railings, wedging one toe between the metal bars. You grip the cords of the plant and haul your way up. Then the second foot is up, and you are climbing, though you can feel the plant tearing under your hands. Keep climbing. You keep going. Oh, my spirit changed to gorilla. Hoping that if you move quickly, you will clear the fence before the ivy comes away. You don't manage it. Near the very top, you feel the sap leaking between your fingers as the cord of plants snap, then you fall painfully back onto the rubble-strewn ground. However, all is not lost. There, where the plant has torn away from the fence, a foxhole has been revealed, leading underneath the fence. Something, a rat perhaps, scurries through the fence and back into the wasteland. Climb into the hole. Don't have stamina to cast a spell? You kneel down and wriggle your way into the foxhole. It is so narrow that you have to keep your arms out in front of you and drag your pack along behind. But thankfully it is short, coming up on the other side of the fence less than 2 strides away. You pull yourself up from the hole in the ground into the graveyard. The graveyard. You are standing in the grounds of Necropolis, a city within the city, occupied by the headstones and mausoleums of the dead. Somewhere between the yews and cedars you can make out the wide road that loops through the graveyard before turning uphill as it heads for the far gate. The wind whistles between the tall trees. The sun is setting behind the walls. Look around the gravestones. You step nervously off the path and walk between the nearest tombs. Some are ancient, headstones tilted to crazy angles, and some of them fallen face down, as though the citizens of the graveyard had been drinking since they died. Others are fresh, neatly carved and clean off of all moss and weeds. They sparkle in the moonlight as though cleaned by maids and waiting for their occupants to arrive. Okay, let's explore the newer tombs. There are several tombs here. There must have been a recent plague on the rich in the city. They are scattered around in roughly alphabetical order. Explore tombs of Angel to Farrat. You browse around the tombs looking for a name you recognize, but none of them catch your eye. Something flares past your face. A bat? Explore the tombs of Gilu to Neferet. You meander further between the gravestones, but still nothing stands out to you. Explore the tombs of Oxel to Tamarin. You look from one headstone to the other. A few catch your eye, though you cannot immediately say why. Ooh, Shinva's mausoleum. Okay, let's look at the names. I know Shinva is one, I believe. Clues. Yep, this one is. Okay. I'm kinda curious why I recognize these two. Freya's gravestone? You examine Freya's gravestone, but there's nothing special about it except how new it seems to be. The stone has barely weathered at all, as if poor Freya might have only been buried last week. If that's true, however, no one has left her flowers. Rift's tomb. You walk over to Rift's tomb, but seems quite ordinary. An angel with a covered face, and beneath its claw beat a dying serpent. Between the serpent's open jaws hangs a bone bracelet. So I could take the bracelet, or leave it. I think I should leave it. Could be cursed. Who knows what manner of bones they are? You leave them be, or how angry their original owner might be if you were to put the bracelet on your wrist. Oh, that too. You leave it be. Then suddenly you hear a deep moan and the rattle of chains. Something is clouding the air in front of you. It is a death wraith. This land is cursed for the living, the wraith moans, raising his ghostly spectral arms and holding out bony fingers. You must become dead. I don't think I have enough stamina to cast a spell, so let's fight. You raise your sword and strike the death wraith, but the blade passes straight through. Of course, only silver weapons can harm a spectre. Try the bow and arrows. You lift the bow off your shoulder and fire at the wraith. The impact makes a stagger, clearly wounded. It stops its approach, and instead hovers just on the edge of the path, guarding its patch, but not approaching any closer. Okay, now I think I have 9. Let's fire again. You fire again, and the death wraith launches forward, determined now to kill you before you kill it. The bow is short, but frantic, as you fire and fire again, with arrow after arrow slipping into the spectre's form, making it flicker and separate, like layers of spiderwebs peeling apart. Eventually you fire your final arrow, and the wraith howls and disappears into the ground. But the others are springing up behind it. The graveyard is well defended. and you should leave. How many arrows do I have? I used all my arrows? No. Okay. I ran all this distance, escaped the graveyard. Besides the gate is a disused well, perhaps once used to draw water to splash the body before interment. Let's pull up the bucket. You turn the wrench on the side of the well, drawing up the bucket from beneath. It comes to the top, filled with clear water. Let's look down the well. You lean over the side of the well to peer down. It is pitch black, of course, and seems to go on forever downwards. Then for a moment it looks as though there is something in the shaft. But a moment later it is gone. A trickle of the moonlight, perhaps? I'm not going to drink from the water that possibly could be poisonous. Move on. The rear gate of the graveyard hangs from its hinges, but not from age. It seems it has been taken apart, maybe widened even, to let something through. Beyond is deep forest. Follow the road. So there was more to do there, but I guess I can't go back. Like I wanted to check Shiva's grave or whatever. But lost the time, I guess. You walk for half an hour through the thicket trees along a narrowing track, till you reach a fork in the road. To the left, the track gets narrower still. To the right, a massive shadow looms, so large it seems as though a colosseum has seated itself on the wall in through. The chill wind blows through you. Oh, in thought. Okay, well, in thought, okay. A chill wind blows through you, as though ghosts walk back and forth this way. Let's look at the shadowy shape. The shadow to the right has jagged silhouette. It is ziggurat, with perhaps 100 steps leading to its apex. The trees whisper and move. Let's look down the left fork. Looking left, you see distant flicker torchlight through the trees. The north gate, perhaps? Night is drawing in. You should get a move. The whisper between the trees. So I can go to the right, to this temple, or to the left. I'm kind of worried about meeting those armored wolves. Although I wouldn't mind testing out my blade too. I honestly hope I do see them just so I can fight them. You walk between clawing trees and thick bushes. The north gate is finally in sight. You can see its imposing, ornately carved wooden doors over the top of the guard huts and low buildings that lie at the end of the road. I also want to try and get back there. Turn my money or something. Okay, so I could stride forward to look at the guard huts. Let's look at the guard huts. You pause to watch the guard huts. They seem quite still. One has a hole in its roof. Weed grows through the chimney of another. Are they abandoned? But between here and there is a long road, lined by thick and gloomy trees, a patch of wild forest like you haven't seen since the hills. Let's go cautiously. You make your way slowly around, trying to ensure your feet do not crunch too loudly on the gravel. Something catches your eye. Movement in the shadow, on both sides of the road. Torchlight. Let's stop and look, just to be safe. You stop, ducking into the shadows, and watch. Whatever is moving in the darkness, there are a lot of them. Then a gleam of moonlight catches one and you see it clearly. A wolf, cladded in tight metal armor. No, a werewolf.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sweet. I draw my sword. You move to draw your sword from its sheath, ready to spill the werewolf's blood. But just as the last moment, you freeze. One werewolf you could probably defeat with your blade. But suddenly there are more. 10, 20, 30 werewolves pad down from the shadow onto the path, forming an arc in front of you. I can turn and run. They're probably extremely fast, so I doubt I'm going to be able to do that. Sheathe my sword. I mean them no harm. Threaten them, or wait. Maybe I can scare them with the threaten them? Threaten them. You draw your sword, and shout below at the top of your lungs, hoping to startle the creatures back. But they do not move. Then you see why. They are commanded by a man, who steps from the shadow of the trees. "Who goes there?" he demands. "Friend or foe?" "Friend? Foe? Friend of whom? Or neither, let me pass." I'm really curious what's gonna happen. I wouldn't mind seeing if I can fight off like 30 werewolves. I'll say foe. "Is that so?" the man laughs. With a swift movement of his hands, he gestures to his dogs. They bound forward, two catching your wrists, in slavering jaws, holding them tightly but firmly. One flick of my finger," he says, "and you'll never lift so much as a fork again. Now give me a straight answer. Are you with us or against us?" So I can say, cast a spell here. Let me pass. I am with you. I'm against you. I don't understand what you're asking, or fight. Law takes 3 stamina.
Did he fit?
Oh, I do have food. Good idea. I was thinking of that, but I lost my food. I don't even have a spot for rations. Hmm. I'll say I don't understand what you're asking. "You're a stranger in the city, perhaps," the man nods, thoughtfully. "You're a late recruit to our cause." "Well, it's too late. The fee to join is—" He pauses a moment as he sizes up what you're worth. For you, 45 gold pieces. I won't pay you anything. I won't pay you anything. The man tightens a raised fist. You feel your bones in your left wrist bending like hay stalks between the teeth of the chomping horse. Last chance, the man growls. I don't have that much. The man looks at you a long moment, trying to decide if you lying to him. Finally, he says, I'll take your money pouch. What happens if he tries taking my money pouch? I only have 0 gold, because it's all into tokens. Let's see, take it. You nod, indicating the money pouch at your waist. The man takes it, tips it upside down, and shakes it. Nothing comes out. I see. I misread you, he remarks. You're just another beggar. Well dressed, perhaps, but no better than the rest of us. Oh, that's funny. He throws back your empty money pouch, then gestures for the wolves to release you. Stay clear of the city tonight, beggar, he declares. And if anyone asks, make sure your loyalties lie with Vic. Or Vike, I think I called him. With that, he whistles to the wolves and sweeps away into the night. You breathe a heavy sigh of relief. You have found one new clue. Aw, but I didn't get to fight them? So armor wolves. Werewolves trapped in their lupine form by magical plate armor, are stalking the city at night. The North Gate. You have reached the North Gate. The ground before it is wide and clear, and lit by blazing torches set into brackets either side of the enormous steel doors. Should there be archers hiding in the shadow, they would have clear sight on you. Off to one side is a well, but there is no other cover. You don't know any of the spell lines, of course, but perhaps the gate will open to a top spell after all? It doesn't take any stamina. Let's wait and watch, though, just to be safe. Although, actually, I could cast the spell now. Let's do that first. Open locks and doors. All requires 1 stamina. I don't know if it's worth it. Let's not cast it. Let's wait and watch. You wait in the shadows and watch. If the guards are patrolling, you should be able to learn their patterns. But strangely, there seems to be no guards here at all. Perhaps because the gate is locked. No one bothers to guard it anymore. Stride over to the gate. Throwing caution to the wind, you step out to the shadows and approach the gate. Time to see how good your lockpicking skills really are. I don't really have an option of which way to go. I don't think any of this is gonna work. You reach the other side of the clearing unscathed. unscathed and stand below the enormous doors. Force the doors open. You haul at the door. You haul at the door. The gate does not even rattle. You hear a scrambling noise in the distance. Wait. There seems to be nothing more you can do. You wait, you wondering if anything will change. Suddenly you are not alone. A phantom voice issues from the wood itself. Halt, stranger. It blooms. Do you know the spell which controls the gate? I do not. You reply honestly. The voice begins to laugh. Then the gate denies you, replies the voice. From across the clearing you hear a scrambling sound of metal, moving over stone. You look around, but see nothing. Look at the shadows by the wall. You gaze into the shadows by the wall, expecting from the sound to see guardsmen sneaking along and dragging their points of their sword across the stone behind them, but there is nothing there. Then you hear a cry, and you whip around to see a face emerge from the well shaft. In the corner of the clearing, it bears the earring, hook-toothed smile of a goblin. The creature is climbing a rope with a grappling hook attached, which is hooked over the lip of the well. So there was creatures down the well. So I can run to hide or attack. Attack. You stand your ground, one hand on your sword, your mind searching for the stars to prepare some magic. Then you see that behind the goblin is another goblin, and behind that is another. And while you can defeat one goblin without trouble, even 2 or 3, the clearing is filling up fast. There are more goblins than you can count, and they are all running towards you. Goblins? Or dash into the shadows, or stand my ground. I'll stand my ground. Wow. Let's try and charge at it. The goblin marches forward across the plain. You steady your footing and sweep your sword for the creature's throat. It dodges sideways, trying to nick you in the ribs with its stubby sword. The goblin growls and spits. It's him big time. Chasing the goblin, you leap forward and push the edge of your blade towards its arm. It has its blade lifted for a blow. The creature is unprotected. The goblin is almost defeated. Let's block. 1 damage. Cautiously you duck back, watching the goblin closely. It launches a half-hearted swing with its little blade, but you turn it aside. Okay, let's attack. A moment later, you are seizing the advantage. You catch the goblin a slashing blow on the leg. You have defeated the goblin. Continue. You wipe the sword, spinning about to take on the next goblin, but the others have raced around you, heading straight for the gate. And in their midst a small figure is being propelled forward. You cannot clearly see him, but he is wearing a dull metal circlet on his brow, which he clutches as though it was keeping him safe. Their king, perhaps? But since when did goblins have a king? He is surrounded by a guard of nearly 20 goblins, as though he was indeed precious. Kill the figure? Yeah. Whoever the Goblin King is, he needs to be stopped. Attack. You scream forward, sword raised above your head. The goblins are so startled they don't react quickly enough, and you close the distance between yourself and their king in heartbeats. You swing, preparing to strike the killer blow, when the man who the circlet turns to you and says in a cold, commanding voice, "Do not strike me." I could kill him or not kill him. But I don't think I would live if I were to kill him, because all the others would probably try and kill me. Let's stop. You stop, arrested by his cool confidence. It is enough for his goblin guards to react, and they quickly surround him once more and push you back. The king smiles, holding the circlet on his head as if it was a source of some kind of power, and then he hurries to the gate. Leaning down to the lock, he whispers something you cannot hear what he says. A moment later, the gate begins to move. It is opening. If only I knew how close I was. I think I'll stay back. You hang back, watching. Looking through, you make out a figure in the darkness beyond the gate. Marsh goblins, thousands of them, screaming and armed for war. They begin to race forwards, pouring through the gate, filling the clearing and meeting their hill cousins in a loud and violent celebration. The man with the circlet at the gate cries with glee. "A new day for care begins," he cries, clambering onto the shoulders of a nearby goblin, as though about to make a speech. Quite suddenly, the goblin that carrying him lets go. He cries out as he falls to the ground. His sword goes up, slashing down. There is a scream. They have murdered their own king. What is going on here? The circlet from his head rolls to your feet. The goblins, clashing sword on shield, look toward the city with violent eyes. Let's take the circlet. From the way the king was clutching the circlet, you might have thought it was a thing of power, perhaps akin to the crown of kings itself. But it is nothing. Cheap, hammered iron. It still bears the groove from when it was once a goblin sword. You toss it into the dust. It's hide in the shadows. You race back into the shadows, clearing the pool of light in the last moment. More and more goblins are struggling in through the gate, and they are starting to organize. One, a leader of some kind, is hoisted up by the others so he can address the crowd. "Care falls," he screams, in his guttural voice, "and every creature dies. Perhaps when their rampage has begun, you'll be able to slip uh, perhaps when their rampage has begun, you'll be able to slip out through the gate and continue your mission, so long as you are willing to let care burn." I don't want care to burn. Wait and watch. There are too many for you to take them on alone. You hover in the shadows near the gate. "Care is ours," screams their leader, and with a a crash of swords, the army begins to march down the road into the sea. I'll follow them. You strike out to follow them. You will cut them down, one goblin at a time, taking all night to do if that is what it takes, ignoring the open gate to the backlands behind you. Then a voice rings out. Stop, there's a better way. Look for the speaker. You look around, but can see no one. But all around you something is happening. The marsh goblins entering the gate have slowed down. Their warmongering become an absurd, stately dance. The noises in their clearing dulls to a low rumble. I command you to stop, the voice cries, and suddenly you feel yourself held rigid. From the smoke of torches by the gate, a figure rises. Let's look at him. It is an old man, with a long beard and deep black irised eyes. He paces through the churning goblin army to stand in the opening. His legs disappear into a spectral trail. He is at least part wraith. Step forward, he commands, and you find yourself bidden. Approach the figure. I have aligned 3 stars, the ghostly man declares. It rises tonight. The goblin shows their hand tonight. But also, you are here tonight. My name, the figure intones, is Lorag. I was once a scholar and noble of the city. There, I founded it. You founded it later? You reply confused. Who is this crazed shade? I saw Care was falling. Saz had lost his mind and sided with the goblins. The council was in ruins. My own life was threatened. I saw that Kara needed to be saved, so I went back to remake it in a way I could be saved. There and here we are now. You have been here 2 days. I have been here hundreds of years, waiting for you to bring me the spell for the gate. Don't you know the spell? I was thinking you know the spell. I've been looking for him. I created it, the rock replies. Long ago, it has been passed down since. Changed, lost to me, split into 4 lines. I knew it would happen since I was given one of those lines myself, so I prepared someone to find it again for me, for this night. I prepared you. Explain, what are the spell lines for? Explain, you reply. Head in a whirl. What are the spell lines for? I thought they unlocked the gate. The spell does not open the gate. His tone is heavy and dark, like tarred timber. The spell controls it, and there are deep magics burned into the wood itself. Magics that have poisoned the city and burnt fire into eyeballs of those who live nearby. He stares at you, his cold, black eyes expressing no emotion. Deep magics I have placed there to be used by you tonight. I am dead. You must act for me. How can I find the spell lines? How can I find the magic, you ask? I traveled the sea and learnt nothing. The wizard nods. The lines are known to 4 nobles. Lord Theta is blind, and living in the wasteland of Upper Care. Lord Shinba is dead, but not yet forgotten. In his mausoleum in the necropolis, Lord Malaz was a follower of the god Slang, and his shrine near the docks of Lower Care. You may learn his line. As for my line, I give you it freely. Tumblers, too, still deep inside. The spell lines you have found are listed in the key section of your inventory. I will go back. So, gotta write all this down. Okay. I'll go back, you tell him. I'll try to save your city. Know this, Lorog replies. To go back will weaken you. A body is only made of to hold one soul. He waits for the information to sink in. If you will follow me, he says, I'll bend time itself, so that you may return to the city and find the spell for the gate. So, shall you take the adventure, or will you leave care to burn? Understand also, he adds darkly, I will curse you and the journey to follow if you do not assist me. You hesitate. Care is a city of traps, but also of secrets. And there is still more that you might find. Can you afford to let the seaport burn? 5 new clues and other clues have been updated. Okay. Continue the search. I'll help you, Tom. The wizard nods. I thank you. Ready myself? He raises his arms, takes one maximum stamina from me, and begins a spell. The raging goblin stands like statues. You feel yourself lifting up from your body as though you have been snatched away by birdmen. As you lift into the air, you hear Laura cry out one last piece of advice. Find the lines, and find the order of the lines. Care dwindles beneath you and feel your body growing weaker. So now I could just teleport around? Okay. Can't remember this guy's name. Thorog. Well, thank you for watching. If you've been enjoying this, please leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment down below about the events I've taken. I didn't like after I went out from the gamblers area that I was almost forced, like because I chose right and right again. I ended up being forced in this way to the North Gate, which kind of forced the story, and I could have just ended it and left. But I didn't want to just end it because then I would just be skipping everything, I think, and missing out on everything. But that is what has happened. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.